I need to tell you something I've never shared publicly. Something that might shock those who know me as the science and technology guy. Last Sunday, I sat in a church pew for the 47th week in a row. Yes, you read that right. The guy who builds rockets and talks about colonizing Mars has been going to church. But before you think I've lost my mind or had some dramatic religious conversion, let me tell you what really happened. Because it has nothing to do with what you think. Type truth in the comments if you want to know the real reason. A 53-year-old tech billionaire started attending a small church with 40 people instead of building another company. For 30 years, I didn't set foot in a church. Not once. Except for the occasional wedding or funeral where I'd stand in the back, checking emails, waiting for it to end. My world was algorithms, not angels. Physics, not faith. Data, not doctrine. I believed, that technology would solve humanity's problems better than any ancient tradition ever could. Give me a hard problem and I'd throw engineers at it. Give me human suffering and I'd build an app for it. Churches, they were relics. Outdated institutions clinging to supernatural explanations in a world that needed rational solutions. I wasn't hostile to believers. I just thought they were quaint, like people who still use flip phones. Sure, it works for them, but why would you choose that when better options exist? Then something happened that changed everything. It was a Sunday morning last year. I was driving through a small Texas town, killing time before a meeting. As I passed this tiny, unremarkable church, something made me stop. To this day, I can't explain why. Maybe I was bored. Maybe curious. Maybe something deeper was stirring that I didn't understand. I parked and walked in just as the service started. I sat in the back row, ready to leave if it got too weird. But what I saw shocked me, not because it was dramatic or impressive, but because it was so human. 40 people. Maybe 45. Ages ranging from newborns to 90-somethings. No fancy lights. No smoke machines. No celebrity pastor. Just ordinary people who'd been showing up here every Sunday for decades. And that's when I noticed the first thing that stopped me cold. An 80-year-old woman was holding a baby while a teenage boy helped an elderly man with a walker. A 30-something couple was talking intently with a widow in her 70s. Kids were running between adults who all seemed to know their names. When was the last time you were in a room with people spanning 80 years of age difference who actually knew each other? Not just existed in the same space, but genuinely knew each other's stories? In Silicon Valley, I'm surrounded by brilliant 25 to 35-year-olds. At conferences, it's 40 to 50-year-old executives. At charity galas, it's 60-plus donors. We live in age-segregated silos and don't even realize it, but here in this tiny church, generations were woven together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Then they started sharing prayer requests. I expected vague spiritual platitudes. What I heard instead blew my mind. Jim's having surgery Thursday. He'll need meals for 2 weeks. Sarah lost her job. Anyone know someone hiring? Mary's mom is lonely in the nursing home. And here's what happened next. People started solving these problems. Right there. No committee, no app, no sign-up sheet. I'll bring dinner Tuesday and Thursday. My brother's company is hiring. I'll connect them. I visit my aunt there Wednesdays. I'll stop by Mary's mom too. I sat there watching a community support system that worked better than any platform I'd ever built. No algorithm needed. Just humans who showed up every week and knew each other deeply. That's when it hit me. We spend billions trying to solve loneliness with technology, dating apps, social networks, community platforms, VR meets. But here was a technology that had been solving it for 2,000 years, and we were abandoning it because it wasn't innovative enough. I started visiting different churches. Not for God, for the sociology of it. What I discovered shocked me. Every single one had the same pattern. Multiple generations actually talking to each other, people who knew each other's real struggles, practical help being organized without apps, humans showing up consistently, week after week, year after year. You know what Silicon Valley calls this? Network effects, social capital, community resilience. You know what they called it? Tuesday. After 2 months of visiting churches, I realized something painful. Despite all my success, I didn't have this. I had 50 million Twitter followers who didn't know my middle name. I had business partners who knew my net worth but not my fears. I had connections everywhere and community nowhere. The most innovative man in the world was desperately lonely. And all my technology couldn't fix a dot, so I did something that would have horrified my younger self. I picked a small church near my home and started showing up every Sunday. Same time, same pew. Not because I suddenly believed in miracles, but because I'd found a place where humans still knew how to be human together. 6 months in. Here's what I've discovered, the 90-year-old who taught me about resilience. She'd buried her husband, survived cancer, lost a child, but she shows up every Sunday with cookies she baked for the kids. The secret, she told me, is you can't wait to feel better. You show up anyway, and that's how you heal. The teenage boy who fixed my perspective. He volunteers every week with the elderly members. I asked why. They're the only adults who actually listen to me, he said. My parents are always busy. But Mrs. Johnson asks about my life and remembers what I tell her. The single mom who showed me community. She was struggling, really struggling. But this community wrapped around her in ways no government program could match. Free babysitting, job referrals, car repairs. Not charity, relationship. Here's what nobody wants to admit. We've built a world that's incredibly efficient at everything. Except the one thing that matters most, human connection. We've optimized for everything except community. We've disrupted everything except loneliness. We've innovated everything except belonging, and maybe, just maybe, some things shouldn't be disrupted. My tech friends think I've lost it. Why waste time on outdated institutions? Why not build a better solution? But that's exactly the arrogance that got us here, the assumption that everything old is obsolete, that every human need can be met with an app, that efficiency is always better than tradition. You know what's really innovative? A technology so powerful it survived 2,000 years of competition. A platform so engaging people show up every week without push notifications. A network so valuable people maintain it without monetization. I haven't abandoned technology or science. I still run my companies. I still believe in progress and innovation, but I've added something my algorithms couldn't provide, a place where I'm just Elon who sits in the third row. Instead of Elon the CEO, where people ask how I'm doing and actually wait for the real answer. Where I know their grandkids' names and they know my struggles, the most shocking part. This hasn't made me less innovative. It's made me more innovative, because now I understand what we're really solving for. Not just technical problems, but human ones. Not just efficiency, but connection. Not just progress, but purpose. My best ideas now come after church, talking to an 85-year-old farmer or a 22-year-old teacher. They see problems I miss. They understand needs no algorithm could detect. I'm not telling you to believe in God. I'm not even sure what I believe about that myself. I'm telling you that we've abandoned something essential in our rush to digitize everything. We've forgotten that humans need more than convenience and content. We need community. Real, messy, inefficient, beautiful human community. So here's my challenge. Find a place, any place, where multiple generations gather regularly, where people know each other's actual names and actual problems, where showing up consistently matters more than showing off occasionally. It might be a church, it might be something else, but find it. Because all the technology in the world can't replace what happens when humans commit to showing up for each other. You want to know the real reason I go to church now? Because in a world where everything is optimized, automated, and efficient, it's the one place left where being human is enough, where you don't need to be useful to be valued, where showing up is more important than showing off, and maybe that's the most innovative idea of all. We're trying to build colonies on Mars, but we've forgotten how to build communities on Earth. We're teaching machines to think. But we've forgotten how to teach humans to connect. We're creating artificial intelligence, but we're losing actual wisdom. Maybe it's time to admit that some problems can't be solved with code, some needs can't be met with apps, some wisdom can't be improved with updates. Maybe the most advanced technology for human connection is also the oldest, showing up in the same place, with the same people week after week, year after year, until strangers become family. That's why I go to church. No, not because I found God, but because I found something I'd lost in all my success: the simple,